This is Monster Week, only on Animal Planet.
As a scientist, I was never a believer in conspiracy theories. I believe Al-Qaeda was responsible for the 9/11 attacks. I believe we landed on the moon. And I believe Oswald shot JFK. Okay. No, to believe our government covered up these events requires proof. A conspiracy theory, like any theory, needs proof. So that's the first question I'd ask me. Where's your proof? In 1997, scientists from NOAA recorded a sound in the deep Pacific. It's thought to be organic in nature and has never been identified. It's called the bloop. In the early 2000s, it was proved that the Navy beached whales while testing sonar weapons. For years, the Navy denied that they were responsible for these beachings. These are facts. And in some of the incidents, there were reports of something else washing up with the whales. In 2004, two boys were the first to arrive on a mass whale beaching in Washington State. They captured it on a cell phone. The boys claim they saw something that day. They claim they saw a body. And they went on record claiming they saw a body. That official record was later changed, and the Navy took the remains of what the boys found. I know this because I was part of the team investigating that beaching and what the Navy did that day. And I believe I know what it is that they took.
Cliffs Beach, Washington State, April 4th, 2004. Site of the largest mass whale beaching in United States history. A Seattle-based research team from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is quickly on the scene to investigate the cause of the mass beaching. Heading the research was respected marine biologist Dr. Brian McCormick. In 2000, McCormick had published a landmark study that linked mass whale beachings to experimental Navy sonar weapons testing. It led to the program's suspension that same year. Dr. McCormick and his team suspected that the Navy had begun operating their sonar once more. Now, two members of that team have agreed to speak on camera for the first time about what they claim the Navy discovered but has never disclosed.
I remember looking out over the dunes, and the scale was incredible. I'd never seen anything like it. My name's Paul Robertson. I was a research assistant with Dr. McCormick, working at NOAA for several years by then. By the time we got there, the wind was so bad that it had driven everyone else off the beach, and a storm was coming in, so it was just us and the Navy. They'd cordoned off a section of beach, and there were guys in hazmat suits. It could have been biologists or medical staff, we weren't sure, but that got our attention.
Brian was one of the first scientists to draw a connection between the mass beachings and Navy sonar use. He was the most experienced in these events, but even he had never seen anything like this before. I'm Rebecca Davis. I was a field biologist at NOAA. I was working in the Marine Mammals Division before I joined Dr. McCormick's lab in 1999. Blood was visible coming from the ears of the whales. We had never seen that before, where every whale was bleeding from the ears. This meant that they had all suffered some kind of major internal trauma. We took multiple organ tissue samples, and we were going to study those under the microscope to determine cause of death.
We packed up as quickly as we could, but Brian wouldn't leave. He wanted to get as many samples as he could because he wanted to know what the Navy was doing out there. After the Navy left, we went down to where they'd been working, and none of the animals had been cut open. They hadn't been autopsied. We had no idea what they would be doing down there.
In prior beachings where the Navy was implicated, the NOAA team found whales that had died from suffocation injuries. It is believed the loud sound of the Navy's sonar scared the whales into the shallows where they stranded themselves. Without water to support their massive weight, the whales' internal organs collapsed, slowly suffocating them. That's what the NOAA team expected to find in the autopsy remains. Signs of internal organ collapse. They found something else instead.
When we looked at the samples, we expected to see evidence of trauma. The bleeding from the ears indicated as much. What we were not prepared for was the extent. The internal organs hadn't collapsed. What we were seeing was consistent with blunt force trauma. There were circular lesions on the samples, clear evidence of damage, and these were in every sample that we'd taken. Brian had an immediate theory: infrasound. Very powerful, ultra-low frequency sound waves that could theoretically be weaponized and potentially be used to devastating effect. They would slam into living tissue with incredible speed and incredible force. Those slides showed evidence of catastrophic impact injury that we believed was caused by a new kind of Navy sonar. A sonic blast that did more than just scare whales into the shallows. This sonar seemed to kill them.
Well, Brian realized that we didn't need the tissue to test our theory. We have, NOAA has these arrays that record audio, marine life, seismic activity, and one of these buoys was very close by. So we know it was likely that we had recorded the whole event. The sonar blast, the whale reactions, everything. Well, first there was the sound of the whale vocalizations, which we expected. And then there was what we now understand to be the priming of the sonar weapon. And then there was a moment of silence, and this proved to be the calm before the storm, because then it was bam. It was pretty awful to listen to. Brian was so preoccupied with cataloging this sonic blast that he almost missed what else was there. There was another sound on the recording, an animal call, and we realized that this was a bloop signature, the same creature that NOAA had recorded back in 1997, but in this case, our recording was much longer. It was the most complex, intricate animal call I'd ever heard, and we had no idea what had made the sound. All we knew was that a creature that had only been heard once in human history had just resurfaced.
I've seen the footage that was supposedly taken in Beaufort. I don't know if that particular video is real or not. It doesn't really matter. The Navy keeps a tight grip on all classified information, but even they've come to realize that no matter what they do to prevent it, there will be occasional leaks. And when there is a leak, they've learned how to control it. It's no surprise that the Beaufort video was immediately branded a fake. The Navy tells us it's not real, so it's not real. Whenever a leak happens, the military has a way of using its influence to make the general public believe what they want them to believe. What I can't tell you is that I've seen a creature in the Navy's possession. We took it after the first test in Washington State. I was on the beach that day, but we weren't the first ones there.
In the months following the stranding in Washington State, the NOAA team responded to a sharp increase in mass beachings along both American coasts. Similar mass beaching events were being reported all over the globe.
Rescuers are racing against the clock, trying to save nearly 200 pilot whales that beached themselves in southern Australia Monday.
这条长9.7米的抹香鲸，体重超过5吨，年龄在2到3岁，雄性。
6 bottlenose dolphins also beached themselves, something scientists say is very uncommon. This is the 4th incident of its kind in recent months in the same part of southern Australia, and scientists really don't know why it's happening.
This was happening all over the world. So now we're following beachings elsewhere. We alerted marine agencies to what we discovered with the sonar blasts. And we begin hearing about other things. Reports of bodies washing up with the whales. Rumors of something else washing up with them. And in every case, there was always authorities on hand to control the scene. But at the time, we just wanted to stop the beachings from ever happening again.
In some of these events, not only were there reports of bodies being found, but something else. These had been reported before. Not bodies, but spears. For years, deep-sea fishermen all over the world have found them. Found them in fish, caught in the open ocean. German news archives contain an interview with a fisherman who had his own experience with this strange phenomenon.
Mein Name ist Hans Bauer. Ich bin im Hafen von Sutridge aufgewachsen. Ich bin schon ein Fischer mein ganzes Leben. In den 70er Jahren aus Bremerhaven haben wir Kabeljau und Stockfisch aus der Baltischen geholt. Wo wir am Aufwachsen waren, haben wir öfter so Geschichten gehört, komische Geschichten, auf was Leute in Fischen gefunden haben. Bloß, ich kam nicht daran. Ich musste warten, bis ich wirklich auf Tiefwasser in dem Bernhole war. Und da haben wir gefischt und da wurde ich plötzlich selbstbewusst darauf. Da haben wir gesehen, tote Fische. Fische mit Speeren in den Seiten. Davon habe ich schon viele gesehen. Auf einen Trip habe ich meine Kamera mitgebracht. Ich wollte Fotografien machen vom Walfischen für meinen Sohn. Auf denselben Trip, wo wir die Netze da rausbrachten. In einem Netz, da war was, hat sich so komisch bewegt und als wenn es so